I honestly do not know if I am being unreasonable or if he is just completely dense. I feel like I am talking to a wall, but a wall that keeps trying to hand me a toolkit.
Take a deep breath and drink your cappuccino before it gets cold. You looked ready to explode the moment you walked in. Is this about Mark again?
Yes, it is about Mark. It is always about Mark lately. We had this huge blow up last night, and the worst part is, I do not even think he understands why I'm mad. He thinks he was being the perfect boyfriend.
Those are usually the trickiest fights. Okay, start from the beginning. What happened last night?
So, I have been stressed about that potential merger at work, right? My boss has been writing me all week, changing deadlines, critiquing my slides. I came home yesterday completely drained. I just wanted to collapse on the sofa and vent. Totally understandable. You needed a safe harbor. Exactly. So I started telling Mark about how my boss humiliated me in the team meeting. I was really upset, almost crying. And I hadn't even finished the sentence before Mark interrupts me. Let me guess, he told you to quit. No, worse, he pulls out his iPad and starts opening LinkedIn. He says,
"Babe, you need to update your resume right now. I know a recruiter out a competitor. If we tweak your profile tonight, we can get you an interview by Friday." Then he starts lecturing me on how I need to be more assertive with my boss and set boundaries.
Oh, wow.
okay, I see the problem. Right? I am sitting there with mascara running down my face, feeling small and hurt, and he is turning it into a project management meeting. I told him to stop, that I didn't want to look for a job right this second, and he got offended. He threw his hands up and said, "I am literally trying to save you from a toxic environment. Why are you attacking me?"
That is the classic trap. He went into hero mode, and you just needed a witness.
I just wanted him to say, "That sucks, I am sorry." Instead, I felt like I was failing at my job and failing at listening to his great advice. I ended up sleeping in the guest room. Now he is texting me, asking if I have cooled down yet.
It is so frustrating because his intentions were technically good, right? He wants to fix the pain, but in doing so, he completely missed the person in pain.
Exactly. It makes me feel lonely, even when he's right there trying to help. It feels like my emotions are just an inconvenience he wants to solve so we can get back to normal.
This actually reminds me of something I was reading about relationship dynamics. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that you two are speaking entirely different languages when stress hits. You're looking for connection, and he's looking for a result.
Well, right now, the result is that I'm drinking coffee with you instead of talking to him. I just don't know how to explain it to him without sounding ungrateful. He always says, "I'm only trying to help." How do you argue with that?
You don't argue with the intent. You have to retrain the reaction. But before we get to fixing it, we have to understand why he does that. Because believe it or not, his logic brain is actually his way of trying to protect you, even if it feels like he's dismissing you.
It certainly feels like dismissal. But okay, play devil's advocate. Why is my emotional breakdown his call to action?
Okay, picture this. When you're crying, Mark sees you in pain. To him, that pain is like a fire alarm going off in the house. It is loud, it is distressing, and his immediate instinct is not to sit there and listen to the alarm ringing. His instinct is to find the fire extinguisher and put it out so everyone is safe again.
But I am not a house on fire. I am a human being having a bad day. When he tries to extinguish me, it feels like he is telling me to shut up.
Totally, and that is valid. But here is the psychological dynamic at play. It is often called the difference between instrumental communication and affective communication. Mark is likely an instrumental communicator. He communicates to achieve a goal or solve a problem. For him, talk is a tool to fix things.
And I suppose I am the affective one?
In this context, yes. Affective communication is about connection, validating feelings, and building intimacy. You are talking to process the emotion, not to change the external situation immediately. The clash happens because you are playing two different games. You are playing catch, tossing the ball back and forth to connect. He thinks you are playing tennis and is trying to smash the ball to win the point and end the match.
That actually makes sense. He did look really stressed while I was talking. He was pacing around. I thought he was annoyed with me, but maybe he was just anxious.
Exactly! Men, or really anyone with that fixer mindset, often feel physically uncomfortable when their partner is sad. It makes them feel helpless. If he cannot fix your boss, he feels like he is failing to protect you. So he jumps to the resume because that is something he can control. It is his way of managing his own anxiety about your unhappiness.
So he's not ignoring my feelings because he doesn't care. He's ignoring them because he doesn't know what to do with them if there isn't a solution attached. Bingo!
He thinks that if he solves the problem, the feelings will vanish. He doesn't realize that for you, the feelings are the problem right now. By skipping the validation step, he's trying to build the roof of the house before he's even poured the foundation. The structure just collapses.
God, that is exhausting though. Does that mean I have to suppress my need to vent just to keep him from panicking and trying to fix my life?
No, definitely not. You need the empathy, but you cannot expect him to guess which mode he is supposed to be in. Right now, he thinks his job description is Chief Problem Solver. You need to give him a new job description.
I would love to fire him from the problem solver role, honestly. But how do I tell him that without bruising his ego? He takes it so personally when I reject his advice.
You have to separate the rejection of the advice from the rejection of the person. There is a technique for this. It's about setting the stage before you even start the story. It saves you the frustration, and it gives him a clear roadmap of what success looks like in that moment.
A roadmap? You mean I have to give him instructions on how to listen to me? That sounds unromantic.
It is not unromantic. It is efficient, and it prevents fights like the one you had last night. It's about asking for exactly what you need, comfort or solutions. Think of it as a disclaimer. Before you launch into the story about your boss, you pause and set the expectations. You literally ask him, do you want to provide comfort or do you want to provide solutions?
That is blunt, but I guess if I had said that last night, he would have known what game we were playing.
Exactly. You can say, babe, I had a terrible day and I am feeling fragile. I just need you to hold space for me and listen. I do not need a resume update right now. I just need a hug. You are giving him a winnable objective. If he sits there and listens, he wins. He feels successful because he gave you exactly what you asked for.
I never thought about it that way. I assumed that by crying it was obvious I needed comfort. But for him, crying means emergency, and emergency means action. If I tell him no action, he can actually relax.
Precisely. It relieves him of the burden of fixing the unfixable. There is a term for what you need him to do. It is called holding space. It means being willing to walk alongside another person in whatever journey they are on, without judging them, making them feel inadequate, or trying to fix them.
Holding space.
That sounds nice. It sounds peaceful. It is. It's about sitting in the dark with someone rather than rushing to turn on the lights. And the funny thing is, once you feel heard and the emotion settles, you might actually want his advice. You might say, okay, I have vented, now what do you think about that recruiter? But you have to drain the emotional swamp before you can build on the land.
You are right. I think I was so defensive about the advice because I felt rejected. If the validation comes first, the advice might actually be helpful. Mark is actually pretty smart about career stuff. He is. And he loves you. He just needs the manual.
So, are you going to text him back?
Yeah, I think I will text him and say, I am sorry I snapped. Let's order takeout tonight. I want to tell you about my day, but I promise to tell you what I need before I start talking.
perfect. And if he starts reaching for the iPad, you have my permission to gently smack his hand.
Deal. Thank you. I feel like I can actually go home and have a conversation now instead of a debate.
Anytime. Relationships aren't about reading minds. They are about writing clear subtitles. Let's get the check.